All right, welcome in, Sharp Money crew. As you guys are getting in here, Math Wins here, bringing you a live stream today with Brayton and Thralia, aka Thriller. Not really, but that's always what I've called him. Welcome in. We'll just kind of go through some bets today, but first off, we're just going to kind of talk about how we've done the last week. I think most people in the Discord had a really hot September, leading us into October. But Brayton, I'll kind of let you go. How you been doing this last week?
So I'm about to pull up my calendar on my phone, but before this morning, I think I was up a unit over the last 3-4 days. However, I just seen lost 3 tennis bets, so 5.5 units down to start the day. So we need college football to bring that back to me, and hopefully maybe one of your lottos. That would be nice.
Dude, hitting a lotto today would be gold. And I know we were talking with the other promo guys today. So many of us have been like 9 out of 11 right picks or 10 out of 11, but we haven't been able to squeak one out since Dime hit one. I think week 1 of the NFL season.
Yeah, got a good bit of units out today. 26 units right now. Hopefully to get a few more. And but I think we can dig myself out of that hole, that 5.5 unit hole this morning. So looking forward to it.
Nice. Yeah, I think I'm at let's see. I think I got about, I'm trying to do the math in my head because I can't find the unit size. I'm probably about 40 units out today.
Wow.
So, and I know last weekend I went crazy because I was live betting all day because my wife was at work, and when she's at work, I just kind of have the whole day. So I might do a lot of that today as well. But Thrillia, how have you been doing this week? And I know you weren't on the live stream last week, so maybe give a little recap of your October and how you've been doing to start, or a recap of September and then how you've been doing to start October here.
Yeah, sure. So in September, I actually had a down month. Promos, the bot was fine. Promos were, bot was about even. For the month, I ended up about 15 units down. But the previous month, I was up like 55 units. So it was bound to happen. This month, though, I started out up 10 units in the first 3 days of the month until I had a 5-unit loss yesterday. So I got 20 units today out and about 15 units tomorrow already. So let's keep going, get that back up again. I haven't even touched the promos yet. So I'll be doing that right after we get off of here.
There's so many promos out there today. I know I was grinding this morning, getting some out, and our promo team is always posting them. But for those of you that are new to the Discord, make sure you guys check out our promo team. Down here on the left, these guys do a fantastic job. You can see all the promos that they've already got out for today. As a new bettor, this is the best way for you to grow your bankroll. So many positive EV options with massive EV upside here. And you'll see let's just check out the so Greek here posted Bet365. He's got here, and it gives you everything you need. Tells you the unit size that you should use. I would stick to these. I would be pretty diligent of sticking to the quarter Kelly unit plays. Even if they get a little bit bigger, the EV is so worth it on these plays. But make sure you guys are checking that out.
Absolutely. Because I have not been able to take all of them because I can't have $400 Bet365. And we have multiple plays for lots of our promos, so I only hit the ones that we actually have a promo for. But I'm looking at my all my bets for the promos I've tagged. Out of 350 bets on the promos, I'm at a 20% ROI.
Wow. That's awesome.
I mean, you're not going to beat that on any straight plays. 20%. That's and the nice thing is, especially for new EV bettors, their bankroll is probably a little bit smaller, but they don't have the kind of crippling limits that people who've been EV betting for a while are going to get. So definitely make sure you guys are checking that out. Guppy asked in chat here, what are my strategies for live betting? So I actually started in the EV betting scene using OddsJam. The only thing I use OddsJam for anymore is live betting, just because they have a pretty good it's just quick, and they have a pretty good setup for one link bets for live betting. but otherwise, I think our product is superior, and I know we've got a lot of guys that have come over from Odds Jam to use our Discord, but it's really the same thing, Guppy. You're just finding discrepancies and EV compared to whatever you're playing as Sharp. It's just lines move way faster because the games are moving versus pre-match where nothing's being played. So I think probably next we should get into kind of the adjustments we've made to our NCAA football bot. We've been working since the last couple of weeks to kind of just make some product updates on it. And one of the things that we did is we've talked about since the beginning of college football how Circa and Bookmaker are kind of like the king sharps for college sports, especially college football. So you'll see a lot of or some plays that just have those books listed at the bottom, and I play all those plays. If it has even a 1% EV edge to a Bookmaker, Circa, or a combination of the two, I'm all over those. But then you'll notice, and let's see if we got any up here. Yeah, so like this ping, Ball State, Western Michigan, you'll notice at the bottom here, it just has FanDuel and DraftKings. So this is actually if it has, if there is no Bookmaker or Circa line, it'll take a market average. And this is actually a bug that we're trying to fix. We want more than 2 books down here to do our market average. So let's see if I can find one that's, see. Yeah, so here, this is on Bet Parks. The books at the bottom here are the ones that have a line for this play. So if you're looking at North Carolina State, Wake Forest, under 49.5 at plus 128, because this is an alternate line, Circa and Bookmaker don't have a line out, but we took the market average here, and you can see that FanDuel is sitting way above the other books in the market still. So this play is going to hold value. One thing we're talking about doing is tweaking the EV percentage for our market value or our market average pings. Because there's no Sharp involved here, meaning Bookmaker or Circa, you want a little bit of a cushion in terms of your EV. So you really want to see a higher EV percentage with these market plays. Me personally, I probably wouldn't touch a market average play unless the EV was 2.5%, 3% or more, just because we don't have that sharp action that we're playing off of. The ones with Bookmaker, Circa, like I said, I would play down to 1%. But that's why you're seeing so many more pings this week than last week, is that we just added a market average feature for you guys so you could see the alternate lines versus just the main lines that Circa and Bookmaker have. Brayton, Thrillia, have you guys been playing any of these market average pings or kind of feeling it out for this week?
So this week I haven't been playing market average. I've been a little bit more selective in my NCAA picks. It's kind of learning to adjust from I used to just look at the chart. So you could quickly look and see if a sharp line was there. Now with NCAA, I'm really having to change my strategy to go and read the bottom of the graph and see if there's a Circa or Bookmaker line. And that's really all I've been playing is Circa and Bookmaker.
I've been taking some of them. I'm making sure that that there's at least 3 names down there, since one of them is going to be the book you're on. But I've also been making sure, like if I'm on FanDuel or something, I want to make sure that the market average ones are not like Fanatic and Bet Parks or something, because then I probably trust Fanatic or FanDuel more than them. But when it's like on Caesars or something and FanDuel's way off and the others are near FanDuel and Caesars isn't, I'm going to take Caesars.
Yeah. All good. Another question here we got from BK Rumhead talking about knives. You'll notice there are no knife plays on the market average because we don't consider Pinnacle sharp for college football. So if you're looking for those knives for college football, it'll have 2 if there's a Bookmaker and a Circa, 1 if there's one of those 2, and then nothing if it's going to be our market average plays. Let's see. Just kind of looking through comments here. If you guys have questions, you want to throw them in the chat. That's the only really update we had for you guys besides finding some plays here. I know there were a ton of pings. It seems like from like the 8:30 till 10 o'clock time is when we get a lot of pings on college football Saturdays. I know the bot was kind of going crazy from that time. Brax, how have you been doing? You've been playing a lot of the NFL prop bot stuff.
I've been doing, yeah. I want to say it's like a 10% ROI on all the NFL prop bot. I need to look at my tag, but basically playing everything that has a decent market average, right? Just making sure you don't take a FanDuel prop when it's only comparing it to DraftKings or whatever it is. Making sure there's a true market average. It's been really good. So NFL seems to be doing well. For most people, I've had a couple down weeks, but the prop bot's always been good.
Yeah. Thrall, have you been playing NFL prop bot?
I have, and it seems like it's mostly been really good. Unfortunately for me, most of the ones that have been hitting have been the Fanatics ones, and I'm limited to $10 there. Whereas I can put a full unit on something else, so I have to win like 5 or 6 times on Fanatic to make up for the one I lost on FanDuel.
Gotcha.
But they've been doing pretty good mostly.
Yeah, that's a good point. What books are you guys getting most of your volume on for those?
I'd have to go and look. But I'm looking at my record here, 58 and 48, 13% ROI, 8 units up. But I think most of my, if I had to guess, I think it's mostly DraftKings and FanDuel that I'm playing them on. Again, that's the ones I'm not limited on, so I can get a little bit more money down. I've kind of started to really just ignore Fanatics because the $10 almost feel like it's not worth it. If I'm already in the book, I'll take it, but I'm not going out of my way to take it. But mostly FanDuel and DraftKings from what I can tell.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. I'm pretty much all FanDuel, DraftKings for player props, just because the other books I can't get anything that's worth it down.
Right.
And I think if I'm looking at the entire season for that NFL prop bot, my results are pretty good. I've got up 9 units on the season at a 14% ROI. Just taking it. Yeah, I take any ping that pings on FanDuel and DraftKings. So it's not like I'm even being selective there. I'm not looking for something. The way we've got that set up is it's really just hunting down huge market outliers. So I've been hitting just about everything that pings for that bot. If you don't have that, that's a little separate than our premium subscription. It's only $9.99 a month. It should pay for itself very easily throughout the course of the season.
Especially with these 12, 13% ROIs that we're seeing. I mean, it should pay for itself in a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my ROI on it is lower, is 4% overall. But I also I think I've got 100 of them so far total. So it's definitely a lower volume. But I will say Fanatics might still be worthwhile. Very small sample size, of course, but I'm at 14-3 record on Fanatics for NFL props and a 65% ROI. So I know I can understand why they're limiting me on those to $10.
They're way off. Their lines are so off.
If I was putting a unit on those every single time, I'd have 14 units in 17 bets.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Seabass asks, do you guys plan on adding more books? What books are you looking for, Seabass? Because we got a whole list of stuff we're trying to do. We do have the ability to add some more books if it's going to benefit a lot of our members. So if you throw some books that you're looking for in the chat, that would be helpful, and we can talk about it and see if it makes sense to add some more books or keep making adjustments on what we're doing. Of course, he dished us on the stream today, but he's asking questions in chat. So make sure you guys give him a hard time for not hanging out with us today. But Football Mania, for those of you who are not in the Discord or just joined the Discord, we started another contest for you guys. We love getting just member involvement in our Discord. So Football Mania, and then we did a Basketball Mania last night for the WNBA playoff game. But Football Mania, if you look in the pins, you can find the rules for it. Essentially, we're running a contest that will put a game up, whether it's a football game. So like today's is Michigan versus Washington tonight. just so all of you guys can watch Michigan's amazing offense from the 1800s with me and just kind of revel in its greatness. But what the whole point of the game is guessing the game of the score of the game. So if you correctly guess the score of the game with the correct team winning, that's how you win. Prizes are range from a free month of premium to, if we've already got premium members, we're going to gear you guys up along with a free month. So we've got some SharpMoney gear that we are in the process of producing. You'll start kind of seeing Dime rocking that on live streams, especially with Brayton too. But that's what Football Mania is. So if you haven't put in your guess for today's is the Michigan-Washington game. So, and the player prop that you have to put with it is a tiebreaker. So if multiple people guess the same score, we'll go to the player prop guess as a tiebreaker for a winner. Today's is Alec Orgy's passing yards. If you don't know who Alex Orgy is, I don't know if he's thrown for 100 yards in a single game this season. So should be fun to kind of see where that number ends up by the end of the game. Freshly baked. Can we have an MMM or an MMA mania? I'm not really sure how we would run that, but if you can come up, throw me a DM with some ideas, and maybe we can, because nobody's won a single one of our contests when we've tried to give away free stuff. So we need some new ideas for ways for you guys to win.
Didn't we have a basketball mania winner yesterday?
So we had somebody come close yesterday. Bucky was close. He had the correct score for the Liberty, not the Aces. So
I did not realize that Liberty lost that badly.
Yeah, the Liberty lost 95-81. So he had the 81 points for the Liberty, but he was a little off on the Aces score.
Well, keep it up, Bucky. You'll get it next time.
Yeah. Here's one. I'm going to kind of throw this one to you guys, let you guys talk about how you track your bets. Any best practices for tracking your bets? We seem to have a game ping for the bot multiple times. I've taken multiple bets or multiple times or worse, gone against it. You guys want to kind of speak to how you keep track of your bets throughout the day when the bot's kind of pinging like crazy?
Sure. So obviously most of us use Pickett for our bet tracking. I used to be way more concerned and a little bit scared to bet the same bet multiple times. You try to make a mental note of what games you're on, check Pickett. If you can avoid it, I would avoid it. However, I've kind of gotten to a point where I don't worry about it as much. If I bet it, twice, 3 times, over the long term, if the bet has value, I do believe it's going to kind of sort itself out long term. That is, I think, one of the hardest things is to stop being concerned, I guess, with your daily results and really look at the big picture. So if you're taking bets multiple times with value, you might have a bad day, but you'll have a good day. So that's kind of what I do. I really stopped worrying about it.
Yeah, I try to stop worrying about it. When I double it up, it usually loses because that's my luck. But I'm not too worried about it. I am more worried when I quadruple it up, because I've done that twice, and then I also doubled up the opposite. So that was a bad game.
Yeah.
But I usually use Pickett. Yeah, for habits, I usually use I run through the bot channels, then go to Pickett, sync it. Tag everything, and then when there's more bets in the channels, I look through there and pick it open for that day's bets to try to at least skim it real quick before I look at it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Pickett, there's actually an events tab that you can go down and so if you see a game ping, you can click on that game on Pickett and it'll pull up all of your bets for that game. That's an easy way to just check. But like these guys said, as long as you are bankroll managing correctly, a double bet here or there isn't going to be the biggest thing in the world, because on those double bets, some are going to hit, some are going to lose. In the long run, if it's just a single bet, it's not going to make it's not going to make you or break you. The biggest thing with that is bankroll management. Make sure that you're playing your Kelly to the right unit size. People who are playing 5 to 10% unit sizes out of their bankroll are the ones that get in big trouble if they double bet and it loses, because now you're talking about losing 10 to 20% of your bankroll in a single double bet versus 1 to 2% of your bankroll in a single double bet.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
Here's one that I get asked quite a bit. And I think this applies to a lot of our members. If you're starting with a small bankroll like 2K, how many books would you recommend starting with and which ones? So this is common for EV bettors in terms of where they're starting in. Hold on. Hey, Brayton, take over for a second. I got to get rid of these dogs.
Yep. So I actually started with a bankroll less than 2K back in March. What I did was whatever books I had access to, maybe 5 or 6 books at the time, and so I put equal amounts in every book. However, what I do see now is that FanDuel is, you're going to get the most action in FanDuel, the most bot pings, the most value. So I tend to have more bets and more units out on FanDuel. So I guess if I had to start again, I'd put a little bit more in FanDuel and then, split up the remainder. So maybe put 30% of your bankroll in FanDuel and then split out the rest of it over the remaining books you have. I think it also depends on how many books you have access to. But I get the most action down in FanDuel for sure.
Yeah, definitely FanDuel has the most there. I would say if you're just starting out, you haven't actually opened any books yet, I would definitely open like the big 3, DK, MGM, and FanDuel. Seems like the big 3 is, as far as quantity for me at least. And because those are not going to have crazy limits on your sign-up promos. Because when you start out with a book, you want to have enough money to take advantage of the sign-up promos. But yeah, those 3 are the ones that get the most work for me. I have 7 now, I think. And I have a few others that I haven't opened yet that I could, but yeah, you would definitely want to be able to have enough on there to take advantage of the quantity of bets you're going to have, and also make sure you're able to handle any of the sign-up promos that you might see, because those are going to be a big way to jump that up real fast.
So right now I have about 50 units out, and 24 of those are in FanDuel, with about 10 in DraftKings. So really those are where I'm getting the most action. So 35 units of my 50 units at risk are in those 2.
Yeah, and I agree with everything you guys said. I was listening. Sorry about that with these dogs, but that's the biggest thing is sign up promos. I started with a 1K bankroll when I first started, and I was able to, back when sports betting just became legal in Michigan, they had like $1,000 and $2,000 bet matches at books. So it was like I was able to push my bankroll from 1K to 5K in the matter of a month or so, just from all the sign-up bonuses. They're not that absurd anymore, but that's a huge way to get a jump start on your bankroll. And then honestly, the ones that you can get volume at, but the more books, the better. If you can kind of space out your money, the more pings you can get. If it's EV and you're playing it, the more volume you can get down, the quicker you're going to see that bankroll grow. So just kind of add on what these guys said. Let's see here. We got a lot of really good questions today. Cal says, how do you manage being on both sides of a game? We hit this a little bit last week. I'll quickly touch on it. Try not to reverse middle yourself. So let's say you're on over 49.5. Don't be on under 47.5 to where if the game hits 48 or 49, you lose both sides. That's a really tough spot to be, especially in a key number like 49 in football. If you are on both sides and you can create a middle, that's the best. So let's say you're over 47.5 and under 49.5, where if it hits 48 or 49, you win both sides. That's the best place to be. Usually, if a line has moved against you, you're better off just letting that one ride versus creating that reverse middle where you could lose both sides. Anything to add on that one from you guys?
No, I think that's perfect. It's something I try to manage. Again, if I screw up, I try not to worry about it too much anymore. But no, I think that's well said, Matt.
And I would definitely say if you do find yourself in that spot and you didn't want to be, don't cash out either one unless you can get your full bet back, because that will automatically cause you to lose the situation.
Great point.
Yeah. Here's a good one, because I know this one affects all EV bettors. How do you guys push through streak of red days and bad variance? It's very demotivating sometimes. Thalia, I know you had a down September when everybody else seemed to be green. So maybe kind of speak to that, how you kind of went through September, seeing a lot of guys being green, and then kind of broke through in October.
Yeah, so that was definitely a rough month, because I think I had more red days than green, and a lot of my green days were less than a unit green, and then the next day would be a few units down again. Just had to keep. I had noticed that my CLV is good. That I was taking the same bets I had taken the previous month when I was up like 40 units, and just had to remember that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And also, I did not start out my betting as an EV bettor. I started out as someone who had paid attention to sports my entire life and thought I knew enough to make money anyway, even though the books are going to be smarter than everyone individually can possibly be. And so I just remember what my September the previous year looked like when I was not EV betting. And that was much, much redder.
Yeah.
So it's like, as red as it was better than if I was not using EV betting to try to do it.
True. So true. I think this is where, as frustrating as it can be to go through a down stretch, this is why bankroll management is also so important, because if you are playing the correct bets at the correct percent of your bankroll, you'll be able to make it through tough stretches. Me, for example, to start, like, my September was the first half of September was brutal for me. From the 1st to the 14th, I was down almost 9K in that first 2 weeks of September. From the second week of September, from like September 15th until now, I've gone on like a 20K heater. So it's like, there's just, as long as you're playing your units right, I'm telling you, if you use the bots the right way and the ways that we are telling you guys to find EV, it's going to play out in the long run. The other thing to keep in mind is volume in good plays is key here. The smaller sample size you have, the more fluctuation you're going to have in maybe away from that mean of that 3 to 4% EV that we're, or the 3 to 4% ROI that we're looking for by EV betting. So I know it can be tough. That's one reason why you'll see us post monthly recaps. Don't get stuck on the day-to-day. I was down 3 units yesterday. I'm down another 3 units today. Look at the big picture. Zoom out. If you zoom out, you're going to see that ROI kind of get closer to the mean that we're looking for.
I think this is the hardest thing for brand new EV bettors. That's tough to start this, and then negative variance kind of hits, and you don't know if you can trust what you're doing. For a lot of the guys that's been with us since April, they've ridden through some of those down times and see the highs that it can bring, which are normally better than the lows, And so it just takes time to trust what you're doing. If you really trust the process and the bots and the plays that we're seeing, it's going to work out. But it takes a little time to gain that trust and see the ups and downs of everything. It's not always a smooth ride.
For my Fanatics guys, hit this ping right here. UCLA plus 28, plus 105 on Fanatics. Lines for bookmaker and Circa. You're getting almost 2% EV to the 2 best sharps in the industry. This is a great play to go hit right now if you have Fanatics as a book.
I think I hit that earlier on ESPN today.
Did you? I don't have. I'm so
it was even, not 105. So 105 is even better.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I'm so death limited on ESPN that I don't even have my pings open for it anymore.
Yeah, they crushed me, but my limits have
Um,
actually gone up again after the week 1 when they limited me to less than $10 per bet. Now I'm back up to almost a
hmm,
unit again.
maybe I'll have to go check that out then. Uh, Here's another question from some random guy. Uh, Starting MLB playoffs, should we be focusing, or Sharp should be focusing more on MLB now? Are you guys playing MLB playoffs? You guys got any MLB playoff bets out for today or this week?
One
I
or
have not
two,
been doing
not.
any. Well, I haven't been doing any
No, go ahead,
props at
brother.
all. And I've got maybe 1 or 2 bot plays for it, but mostly I'm just doing the promo plays for the playoffs. Those have been making money like every day so far for the playoffs. It's been crazy.
I'm not forcing volume in baseball, but if I see a great chart, I'll take it. But I'm definitely not going out and searching for it right now.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm playing playoff baseball, but I'm probably playing my career ROI for college football and NFL is so much higher than MLB that if I have to like, I'm definitely prioritizing the football plays, but I will play the MLB plays as
Right.
well. Here's one for you. Uh, we kind of hit this at the beginning. The promos are so good in terms of ROI. I know Ralia had, would you say, a 20% ROI on promos?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's
And that
20% over about 350 bets at this point.
yeah, I mean you're talking about 20% ROI. If you're scaling back to eighth Kelly, you're just missing out on profits. I know having a smaller bankroll, if as long as you're sticking to that quarter Kelly number, you're going to be fine. I wouldn't, the guys that put themselves in trouble are the ones that kind of push it to full Kelly or have more than a 1% unit size in terms of their bankroll. But I really think you're just missing out on opportunities by playing them eighth Kelly.
Yeah, especially since it can be tough with a smaller bankroll. I started doing the EV betting with a 1K bankroll also, although I also had an overweight unit at 15. So I was in that situation as well. But yeah, you definitely want to take advantage of the higher EV while you can, because as your bankroll gets bigger, up to 3, 4, 5K, you're going to start. You'll have made so much money off the books at that point. They're going to start limiting how much you can put on some of these promos. So you won't be able to get quarter Kelly as often.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Um, I'll take this down. Here's a nice ping on BetMGM too. Seahawks Giants. First half over 20 and a half at minus 110. You're getting almost 3% EV. This one is only has a pinnacle line, but with almost a 3% EV one day before game day, I'd be all over this. What are your guys' limits like at MGM? I can get money off on NBA, but football, college, and NFL, I can't get more than like $10 off on MGM right now.
I'm limited there, but I can still get down on some of the main lines. A unit, so 100. Some of the alt lines, like I'll be limited to maybe 30, $40. Player props, they limit to me to 30, $40. But the limits aren't terrible, but I am limited there.
I'm only limited on promos there.
I'm limited on both.
That probably illustrates where I've made most of the money there from them. My
$2
limits on
promos.
are like, no, I got 20, but it used to be 50.
Yeah.
And their pre-made boosted plays, I used to be over 100. That's down to like $40 now. But the regular, just straight up picking the plays up from the bots, I have not been limited, and I've put like $200 on one in the last week. Thankfully, it won because that was a nervous bet.
Yeah. Little conversation going on in chat here just about when you're on a downswing, when to adjust your unit size and kind of just being stressed about being on a downswing. The first thing that I'll say is sports betting should be fun. Like if you're not betting with money that you're willing to lose, don't do it. Like this, like, yes, we're in here because we enjoy watching sports, or we're in here because we enjoy numbers. But if it's affecting kind of how you are doing on a daily basis based on a bad night, I'll just be completely honest with you. Sports betting is probably not for you, and you probably shouldn't be doing it. Like, you have to be able to emotionally just take yourself out of your results on a day to day basis. I've had friends that have been in sports betting who have gotten out because of that exact reason. It's like, even like my hot streaks are great, but even though I'm up overall, when I have a downswing, it just changes how I act on a day-to-day basis. And they just walked away because of that. They were making money. So just be aware of that. Sports betting should be fun. It should be a hobby. For some of us, we're fortunate enough to be very profitable in it. And, maybe one day it'll be more than just a hobby. But that would be my advice in terms of those situations. Bet with money that you're willing to lose. If it's affecting how how your days are on a day-to-day basis, bet less or don't bet.
Yeah, I see the comment from Breeze. I think actually Thrally and I both kind of experienced this over the last month or so. I had a similar situation where I went from like an $80 unit size to 100, and then I immediately lost like 30 units in a 2-week span. I got some decent advice. I think there's no exact science behind it, but talking with EV Adam, he kind of said, when you increase your unit size, if you go, on a losing streak and you're down 25-30%, maybe consider going back down and readjusting your unit size. I left mine alone and it's come back. So it's taken a month or so, but I've gotten it back up over where it started that downturn. I know Thalia kind of went through the same thing, and he had to adjust his unit size, and that was because of his tough September. So I think it's really, there's no hard and fast rule, but I think it's something you can consider doing, or you can trust the process and know that it's going to come back around.
Yeah. We had pretty much the same thing. My time, or my bets in September started coming back up. Because I was down about 25-30% at one point also. September was actually my first month at a $75 unit, and then immediately just tanked in September. So I stuck with it throughout the rest of the month, just because I've been trying not to change my unit more than once a month. So I started coming back up. Had a really bad day last day of September, though, to drop me down to about 15 units down for the month. And I decided I'll just go down to a $60 unit and adjust and go back up from there. But yeah, I listened to Evie Adam on that as well. He's got a lot more experience at this and bankroll management than I think most of us do. So yeah, as long as I was not down like 40 or 50%, I decided to stick with it the rest of the month and see how I shook out.
That's kind of what I'd like to do. I've been doing every month. Is trying to stay with the same unit for the entire month to kind of ride the roller coaster of the ups and downs and see where you stand at the end of the month, and then adjust from there. So that's kind of what I like to do.
Yeah, I think that's probably kind of best practice, is just take it month by month. And if you want to adjust up or down, or if you're only like a 5% difference one way or another, I probably wouldn't change it. I actually just upped my unit this last month as well. So there is such thing as the unit increase jinx, where you're for sure going on a losing streak after you up your unit size. It seems to happen to just about everybody, but it's just one of those things that trust what you're doing, trust that we're actually finding an edge and that it's going to play out the way that we want it to.
And it seems like, look, we're adjusting our unit because we did well, right? We ran a little hot, and we made some money and some profit, and so we're adjusting. And so it's just natural that some of that kind of comes back down a little bit. Over the long term, you're going to see that 3-4% ROI, hopefully. So.
Another nice ping here on Fanatics, little Texas A&M, Missouri A&M -3, bookmaker circle lines getting 1.17%, but love seeing that anytime we can get it to bookmaker and Circa. Cool.
Not to distract
If
from
anybody else,
the conversation here,
go ahead.
but Matt, I wanted to let you know we got a prediction of -7 yards for Orgy now.
Oh boy, is that possible? I guess if
Yeah.
you had a receiver
I
run
mean,
backwards.
Caleb Williams went -10 yards, right? For like a half.
Okay, but your
Our
receiver would
sa-
have to run backwards, right?
well, in
Yeah, or you
sacks,
throw it
doesn't
behind the line
sacks
of
come out of your
scrimmage. Big comes out of rushing.
But if you throw it backwards, it would count as rushing.
Well, if you throw it, if you throw it forward, but you're still behind the line of scrimmage, it's still a forward pass.
Okay, I guess. But I think
That's
you would
what
have to have your
NCAA
receiver run
football
backwards.
video game tells me, at least.
Yeah, you are correct. As long as he throws it forward, it'll be a pass play. But yeah, hey, I hope not. If Orgy throws for negative yards tonight, it's going to be a rough night for me, guys.
Yeah. Well, he still has Michigan winning, so there you go.
Perfect. Love that.
Don't worry, Portnoy's going to buy you a new quarterback next year. You're good.
I did hear that. I was pretty happy when he told me he was going to put up $3 million for a top quarterback.
Right.
I didn't even realize he was a Michigan alum.
Yeah.
We'll end on this one. Would you guys take college plays with a good penny line movement day of and close to game time? I know we don't trust penny for college that much, but I imagine limits are higher closer to game time. So I would still want to see a high EV percentage here. I get it that it's closer to game time, but penny just has low limits in general. They're probably higher than they were at the beginning of the week, but they're still nowhere near what bookmaker and Circa are taking. So I'm still looking for probably 2.5 to 3% EV if I'm going to take a penny line, whether it's right before game time or not. I don't know how you guys feel on that.
I'm trying to stay on bookmaker and Circa this week. So really not looking at any penny movement at all, or I'm trying to only take plays with those two.
Yeah, I'm still going high EV or more than just 1 or 2 books for market average. But real quick, for everyone who may be listening, can you give us an example of how big a difference the limit numbers are, like in sheer numbers? Because I know that sometimes you can tell what the actual numbers are for the limits.
Yeah,
So
I'll pull
what's
up.
What's Circa taking versus what's penny taking on these things?
So Circa around game time, I don't have it up, but I mean they're taking tens of thousands of dollars limit, like huge limits. And I actually have penny up. If you give me 1 second, I can tell you what they're taking. So like for this Texas A&M Missouri game, looks like, and now you're going to make me pull up Circa because it actually looks like penny for full game money line is taking 20,000 on a side. For spreads, they're taking 20,000. For totals, they're taking 5. So they are taking quite a bit more. Let me pull up just because now I'm curious to see how different that is. I want to say Circa is
That's higher than I expected it to be.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, same. I bet Circa's still double or triple that. Well, this is pulling up, I think Aquaman here makes a good point that when you do up your unit size, you really have to take the dollar amount out. Look at the percentage of profits and losses that you're taking, because that's going to be that's what you should be looking at, not the dollar amount. When you increase unit size, obviously your amount lost is going to be higher than before because your bets are just higher. So really, really good point here by Aquaman that look at the percentages, because that's what you need to be focused on, not the actual dollar amount, or look at the unit amount, not the dollar amount.
Yeah, that's something I started doing in June when we were all having our rough 2 first weeks of June, I think it was. I think we all lost a lot at that time before we recovered. That was my first time above a $15 unit, and it was a $40 unit. So I quickly started I realized that it didn't hurt as bad if I switched pick it over to units anytime I looked at it and it was red. And if it was green, I would set it on dollars so I could see how nice my big unit was.
Yeah. No, it takes a little while to get used to. Getting to this $100 unit was a goal of mine. But, when you start the day off losing 5.5 units, you're not used to seeing those, $550 losses. It just takes a little while to get used to those bigger numbers. But, back in the day, I wouldn't have worried about a $55 loss when I was at $10 units. So it's all relative.
So I got it up. Spreads, Circa's taking 40,000 limits, money lines 15, and totals 5. So it looks like on game day the totals are actually the same for Circa and Penny.
Interesting.
The spreads are double at Circa, and money lines Penny's actually taking a little bit more action. And this is obviously like Missouri, Texas A&M is like one of the prime time games today. So limits in general are going to be way higher for that game. If you look at like AV or Navy Air Force, the money line, the penny limits are 5,000 for money lines, 10,000 for spreads, 3,000 for totals. So you can even see game to game there how different the totals are or the limits are for penny. The bigger the game, the bigger the limits, the more confidence. For these small school games, the limits are going to be smaller across the board, no matter what sharp you're looking at.
Yeah, but that's definitely a good illustration of why we look at Circa more seriously for this, because they're taking double the money on spreads and stuff.
I see Robbie saying that FanDuel's taking 15K on Texas A&M spread from fresh account. So.
Yeah, so that's the other
reference.
thing. Like when you look at FanDuel limits, though, you can't treat them like Pinnacle or Circa limits because most of your high volume bettors are limited to 10%. So even though they're taking 15K, like any quality bettor is going to only be able to get 1.5 off.
Right.
So
makes sense.
Cool. Well, you guys got anything else here before we wrap it up?
Nothing right now. I will say that the promo team is definitely going to try to do something like this at some point as well to help people with how we set up our promo plays and everything and how we do things. We just have to figure out a time when we're actually all available and people can actually watch.
That'd be great.
I see in the chat there's a Grow Nola saying off topic, but where did Braxton get that fleur-de-lis? So I am South Louisiana Saints fan, so that's where I got it.
I was going to say, weren't you born with it because you're in NOLA?
Yep. Unless he's asking for that fleur-de-lis behind me. It might be asking about the fleur-de-lis behind me. That's just something my wife got for me. So
cool. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you hopping on today. Everybody at SharpMoney, let's go make some cash today.
Let's go.